start recording, and yeah, we'll kick it off. How's it, guys?
Yo.
Evening.
Evening.
Happy Halloween and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. Greetings to Lwandile of the awesome new project from SA, Cryoplegia. Cryoplegia. And joined, as usual, with my awesome co-host, Alec. How's it going?
What's up, man? It's all good. It's hot as balls here in Joburg, so...
God damn. Yeah. It's been pretty crazy my side. Been doing the whole Cytrods thing, so going from 145 back up to 300 BPM is going to be a bit normalizing. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, Lou, yeah, thanks so much again for joining us. Tell us firstly. Let's get a little bit of a background history. Who were the bands that got you into the brutal death, and I mean, who are the vocalists that got you into actually getting into the vocal side also now?
Wow. Okay, that's a big question. There's a lot of dudes. Okay, so I guess I got into heavier music and stuff like that when I was in grade 9, I think. I want to say grade 9 in high school, because I was hanging around with a bunch of people that were into that type of music, and by association, I just got into it. And you start off soft and light. I was starting off with metalcore bands and hard rock bands and stuff like that. And then eventually, as the natural progression goes, I found Cannibal Corpse and Suffocation and some deathcore bands and stuff. So I got super duper into deathcore and stuff, and I still hadn't messed with any of the vocal things yet by that time. I was just mainly listening to it for the guitar playing and everything. But then I found this band called Whitechapel, which I'm sure everybody knows. The vocalist for Whitechapel, Phil Bozeman, is kind of what started me doing vocals, because I'd never really heard that type of style of vocals. I was listening to death metal, but I was listening to really vanilla death metal. So I'd never really heard deathcore vocals like that before. And man, there was just something about those lows, man, that are so attractive that kind of jump started my career. So I was listening to a lot of the early kind of scene deathcore bands, Whitechapel, Oceanu, Old Diogenes Murder, Rose Funeral, stuff like that. It just kind of started to rule my life. So now I was playing guitar and practicing vocals. I was in a bunch of shitty local bands around Johannesburg. None really went anywhere, but just being in love with that type of music kind of just pushed me to carry on doing everything. And yeah, I guess here I am today, so many years later.
That's sick. You've recently released a single for your solo project, Cryoplegia. Firstly, explain the band name, and then also take us through the writing and production process on that.
Okay, so the band name is kind of funny. Basically, I just wanted, when I was coming up with the idea of Cryoplegia before it actually existed, I knew I wanted the name to sound kind of generic to a lot of brutal death metal, slamming death metal bands, but I also wanted it to sound cool, kind of make it my own, because most bands in that genre are something ectomy or something ectia or whatever it is. It sounds like medical terms. So what I literally did is I went to Google and I typed in I found a medical disease name generator. And I just kept on hitting that generate button until it was just fusing two different words. And so eventually I found one word that was cryo something, and I found another one that was something plagia. And I just took my two favorite ones and just combined them together until I had Cryoplegia. So the name doesn't really mean anything, but if you break down the two different words, I guess it kind of means cold paralysis, I guess. there was no really any thought behind it. It just sounded cool to say out loud. So so I picked that. And initially, it wasn't even supposed to be a band. It was supposed to be like a one-time video. Like that single I just released now was just supposed to be just a fun little video it's going to upload to my YouTube. But when I sent it to Duncan to do his guest spots, he was like super impressed and everything. He was like, yo, you should do this properly and make it a band and get a whole release together and get merch and blah, 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 blah. So he kind of convinced me to take it kind of seriously. So after he hyped me up that so much, I decided to take it seriously. And then I took I think the whole writing to recording to mixing to mastering process of this whole release took about 4.5 months, around that time. And I just made sure that I did it every day until I had something. And it was really important to me to make it something that's properly a solo project. So I didn't want any help besides guest features. I didn't want anybody to record me. I didn't want anybody to mix me. I didn't want anybody to do anything. I really wanted to do everything by myself so that it is the very definition of a solo project. So I wrote all the guitars first, and I tried to find this balance of very generic deathcore / death metal, because I know that's what people like. So caveman riffs and guttural vocals and stuff. I try to find a balance of that and stuff I like. And I'm really into virtuous, modern, progressive guitar playing, technical guitar playing. So then I kind of took that influence of who I am and just fixed it together with this brutal death metal sound. So if you hear the first single, there's halfway through that first single, there's this technique called selective picking that's kind of popular right now in the guitar world. It's a technique made popular by Tosin Abasi, the guy that does the thumb stuff. So I've got a whole bunch of that type of stuff on the EP. Those modern techniques as well. So it's not just true slam or deathcore or whatever. And so I did all of that, and then after I recorded all the guitars, I started writing vocals. Recorded vocals super fast in a week, and then I dedicated 2 months towards mixing and mastering, just to make sure I have exactly what I want in my head. And then I finished it 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago it was finally done, and I'm just working on the release process right now. But that's the whole story behind this solo project.
That's sick. You actually answered my next question, telling us what we can expect from it, adding in all the modern techniques you mentioned. The cover art
pretty much that.
The cover art is sick, by the way. Is it Mindrape, Mark Cooper?
Yes, it is him. He's crazy. He did a lot of the early Vulvodynia artworks too, so it was a no-brainer going with him.
Yeah, it's sick.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
really
it's
like how it came out.
Yeah, I mean, sonically, do you take your lyrics in any different directions on the tracks? How many tracks is on the EP, by the way?
So it's a 5-track EP, not super duper long. Okay. There is, there is a concept, kind of a loose concept of some fantasy novel, whatever thing I came up with in my head. I just wanted to tell kind of a story. So there is a little bit of a concept through the album. I didn't work too hard with it, but I think it's pretty cool. So every song is tied to that concept besides one song, which is Black, the song that with the music video that I got Duncan on. And the lyrics of that song are a bit different. They're more about modern political issues and race issues and all of this confusion and terrible things that are happening in the US and over here. And it's a very modern like touchy type of subject song, but I thought it was important to kind of speak out against stuff like that for that single. But the rest is very separated from that. I just wanted to do that with one song.
Okay, awesome. And that's Biological Harvest. Is there a release date set for that? What's the date?
Yes, so I was gonna announce that tomorrow. So the release date for the Biological Harvest is on the 4th of December, which is my birthday. Which was an ingenious plan of me. So when it comes out, I can tell people that, hey, get me a birthday present. And I'm turning 25 on December 4th.
Hectic. Youngster.
Wow, man. Yeah, you've seen some stuff at your age, man.
A little bit. I'm still a youngin' in this game.
So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm pretty sure Alec was gonna ask this also, but it was actually just announced a couple of days ago. You are now an official member of Vulvodynia. About a year.
Yes.
You've been touring with them. You've actually been like the live tour guy, which has been like pretty intense. For quite a while actually. But now you're actually part of the writing process, which is pretty wicked.
Yeah.
So how's that been going? How's it been working with the Chris's and whatnot?
Yeah, it's the Chris's. It's been amazing. It's been so sick. As you said, I've been like a live member, filling in on tours for like the past year and a half, I want to say. All through 2019, we were pretty much touring, and that was quite the hectic year. We played like over 100 shows last year with Vulvodynia and the side project XAVLEG. We also did the first tour for that band last year as well. So it was so crazy, and I was always in the mindset of I'm just the live member. I'm just the guy that plays live when somebody can't play live. But that ended up being like most of my year. So it was really good. It was really cool to make the transition from that to like full proper member of Vulvodynia, which is amazing because I already love the guys. Like we were already very close friends with each other. So it kind of just made sense. I've kind of been like an official member for a bit of a while now, but we just got on to making the announcement recently. But about the recording and stuff for the new album. We're writing a new album. We've gotten pretty far actually. We've just been trying to stay super diligent and meet up multiple times a week, get ideas out, share ideas together. We really wanted to make it a very collaborative type of writing process, because I know a lot of bands, they like to say, okay, you designated to writing so many songs, you designated to writing so many songs, etc., etc. And we really wanted to take an approach of like, okay, we're all going to work on every single song together. So it's like fully collaborative. There's no one person that's doing most of the work. We're all like, it's really this amalgamation or like mindfuck of all of our ideas and influences and everything. And it's beautiful. I've been in bands before, but I've never been in such a collaborative band that really puts the emphasis on that. So that's been amazing. Writing with the guys and coming up with ideas. So yeah, I'm really, really excited for this next album to come out. It'll be the first Vulvodynia album that I'm like properly involved with, that we're releasing. So I'm super duper excited, and I can't wait until people hear what we've been doing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Mob Justice already started to take a more, I want to say, refined look, like something a little less like, I'm not saying like taking away brutality of like psychosadistic design or any of that, but something a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more political. It focuses more on society and real life rather than
100%.
Dismembering a body. If it's dismembering a body, it's a proper person, a political figure that needs to be dismembered. So
I think with Mob Justice, the guys kind of they really wanted to leave that whole stereotypical killing people, blah 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 type of sound, and they got a lot more serious and matured. I know a lot of people like psychosadistic design, but I think you can really see the maturing between that album and Mob Justice, because like Mob Justice keeps a lot of the brutal elements and stuff, but like there's some songs are like a bit more melodic. There's a lot more technical riffs. There's guitar solos. I thought Mob Justice was just a lot cooler in every way, because it's like a level up from the previous album. Not saying that the previous albums were different, but were bad or anything. But I really like the sound of Mob Justice.
I think you nailed it with the term maturity. Like, you guys have matured, and it sounds killer. It's by far my favorite album that you guys have done.
Yeah.
Mob Justice.
You can't always sing about killing people.
You fairly recently, like not super recently, but fairly recently, contributed like a rad solo to a local band, Human Nebula's track Andromeda. Yeah. Are you planning on working with more local peeps?
Definitely. Like, a lot of people think that the local scene is like not thriving or whatever, but that's like the opposite. The local scene is amazing. Even throughout this lockdown and stuff, there's still been bands playing shows. Facing the Gallows are playing a show soon. That Halloween show also is coming up. A bunch of bands are doing cool. Pajama Planets just released an epic song with Chris on it too as well. So there's a lot of bands in the scene right now that are doing amazing. So definitely would love to work with more local bands, because working with the Human Nebula guys was amazing. They're all like my best friends, and it was just so easy working with them and fun. It didn't seem like work. Usually if I do like guest solos or whatever, it seems like work. But this was just like super fun. You know, it took like a couple of hours. Solo was done, sent it to them. It was like everyone was happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I guess let's keep that going and talk about guitars and keep talking about Chris a little bit, because you were actually involved with him and a couple of other guys in a modern master class that was hosted with Orms and a whole bunch of other guys. How'd the experience go down in September? You guys have any plans to go and do another class in the future now?
You know what? That first masterclass we did, it kind of, we didn't really know what to expect. For people that don't know, we did a masterclass in September with me, a guitarist named Ando, a guitarist named Icaro, and Chris Anopoulos, the other player of Vulvodynia. We did a masterclass, and we weren't sure really what to expect, but it was pretty successful. It was really a really cool experience, and quite a lot of people came through, and we had a great time. Like we were like super nervous before the actual masterclass. We're over Zoom talking to each other, wondering how this is going to turn out to anything. But like when it actually happened, we kind of like calmed down a bit, and then we had a great time with the guys. There was a bunch of sponsors we had as well tied onto it, so a bunch of guys won prizes, and like Ormsby donated a shirt. Horizon Devices gave away a pedal. Nearest Pedals gave away some pedals too. It was really cool, and it was really cool to be able to hook up young players and stuff like that joined the masterclass with cool prizes of like modern gear like that. So to our surprise, it was quite successful, and because of that, we have been talking about doing more. We just obviously don't want to saturate the market with it. So every here and there, a masterclass session will pop up. Maybe like a couple of times a year, but we're still talking about the next one. But there will definitely be a next one.
Sick.
Yeah, those guys were just too much fun to work with.
We've already touched on the fact that you're in Vulvodynia and Cryoplegia. But from my understanding, you first sort of contacted the guys through XAVLEG, right? You first started playing with them in XAVLEG. How's that process?
Yeah, so even before XAVLEG, uh, it was first me meeting Chris Anopoulos.
Yeah.
He kind of like messaged me on Facebook one day. We didn't know each other at all, uh, and then he messaged me, and we started like talking in DMs, and would every now and again to talk about writing music together. But it didn't really happen. We just talk about it, and then eventually, a guitarist named Ethan Naidu, an amazing guitarist, who was in a band called Technopath with Chris. He left that band, and then Chris asked me to join Technopath at first. And Technopath is like a technical kind of jazz fusion prog type of band. So I joined that band first, and I'd never met Chris yet. We've just been talking, and then we eventually met because we scheduled like a Technopath jam session, and we met there for the first time. And then we just carried on being homies after that. And then um, he eventually said, "Okay, I've got this other crazy long name band, XAVLEG, that they're about to play their first show ever, and they need a guitarist, another guitarist." And he asked me, and I was like, "Obviously, that's that's amazing." So I went to go play my first international show with them. I think this was in like 2018 or something in Germany, and we played our first show with XAVLEG. Which was amazing. And then after that first show, I was like permanently in the band. Um, and then yeah, later on that just naturally progressed to Vulvodynia. But yeah, it was kind of it was Technopath first, and then it was XAVLEG, and then it was Vulvodynia. I kind of like slowly crept my way into all of these bands.
Sick.
So, yeah. Well, you've mentioned must have done about over 100 shows last year and whatnot. I mean, you pretty much you've covered most of the continents as it stands now. Have there been any standout shows? Any standout countries that were on the bucket list that you were so stoked that you got to perform there?
Europe is always a great place to tour. Because they really show love to the whole slamming death metal scene. They're always amazing, and there's specific places that were always like so crazy in Europe. Places like Prague. Prague is like one of my favorite places in the world. That was such a crazy place. Not even just playing the shows. Playing the shows is always amazing every night. But just seeing these cities and like being a tourist in these cities is kind of like one of the best parts of going on tour. So that was kind of like my highlight. Places like Prague was amazing. Spain was amazing. Yeah, there's all of these little hot spots that are always like really, really good. Germany's always amazing when it comes to like attendance and people coming to shows and stuff, because they really, really love it over there. There was one tour that I was like proper bucket list moment that I was really looking forward to, and that was the Asia tour. And some of the dates of that Asia tour was in Japan, and Japan is like the place. That's like
Yep.
I've always wanted to go to Japan for like my whole life and everything. So it was like the biggest bummer in the world when we had to cancel that tour because of this whole COVID thing that's been happening. So that was gonna be like my top bucket list moment if we got to play in Japan. But I'm sure it will happen again soon. That tour wasn't really canceled; it was more just postponed and moved.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, eventually, when this COVID stuff lightens up, we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I'm correct, it was the guys from Obliteration Records that were putting it together, and I was actually in Japan when they announced that you guys were going to be coming over, and I was talking to the guys from Obliteration, and yeah, they were keen. So yeah, I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure.
Yeah, I really want to go there, man. Really, really.
Yeah, you'll never want to come back.
Yeah, I'm sure, dude.
Well, I guess let's actually just delve a little bit more into the touring, because this is a thing. You're one of the few artists within the bands of XAVLEG and Vul that actually do extensive tours. When it comes to prepping, is there a lot of practice that's required to be tour ready when these long, like, 10-week, 12-week stint gigs happen?
Yeah. I think there's proper time that we have to dedicate towards prepping for tour, especially with bands like XAVLEG that I'm in, because we have 3 members that are German in XAVLEG, so we can't really rehearse before going on playing a show. So what we usually do at XAVLEG is we just practice our pusses off for like a month individually. So just by ourselves, we really practice the songs, make sure we have them down to a T, and then when we fly, we'll fly like a week, 2 weeks earlier before the tour to Germany, to one of our vocalists' house, Lucas, and would have like a couple of rehearsal sessions as a band. Like just like for a couple of days, we'll actually rehearse as a band, and then we'll go on tour. Sometimes that's not an option. Like whenever we play festivals, we played this festival last year called Fall in the Brawl in the UK, and we couldn't rehearse. We couldn't rehearse as a band, so we all rehearsed ourselves. We just made sure we knew our parts to the T. We flew to the UK. We met the other German members on the day that we're playing, and we literally got into their van. We all got into their van, and me and Chris took our unplugged guitars. The vocalists were in the front seats. The drummer had his like pads and his sticks, and we just played the album from the car speakers. And we're all just like pretending we're rehearsing and we're plugged in and stuff. And I remember being so scared because we didn't rehearse at all together. So I just remember being in the car practicing, and we're all like nervous, but it ended up working out really well, since just because everyone really knew their parts. So ever since then, I've never wanted to feel that scared feeling of we might not be prepared. So I make sure that I'm like super like over prepared when we go on tour, and I've practiced the crap out of the songs and I know them back and forth. Because the last thing you want when playing a show is to be thinking about what you're playing. You're not supposed to be thinking about what you're playing. You're supposed to be focusing on putting on a show and keeping people entertained and everything. So yeah, I just made sure I knew my parts to the T. Even without rehearsals, made sure I know my parts and practicing super hard, and then just focus on performing. And that's generally how I think most of us get ready for tours. Otherwise, besides that, we just make sure we have necessities, extra toothbrushes, some towels. Towels are really important on tour. Wet wipes. A wet wipe is your shower on tour. I don't know, a secret that I was taught by another band was foot powder. Just like this powder designated that you put in your shoes, because dude, like halfway through tour, you're like, if you're wearing like one pair of like shoes for stage, they start to reek. They start to really, really stink. So that kind of saves your life down the line, because you won't always get a shower. Some venues just won't have a shower that day, so you might have to skip a day or so. But yeah, we just try practice general hygiene, brush your teeth every day, be nice to your bandmates, be nice to the other bands you're in the tour bus or the tour van or whatever with. Just, yeah, don't be a dick. That's pretty much the rules.
Did any of the guys in the band ever have like freak out moments on tour where it was just like, this is too much? This is just crazy. Like, what are we doing?
I feel like everybody has that somewhere, somewhere down the tour line. Everyone kind of like we stop and think like, what are we like? There's like the good version of it of when you're actually thinking you're somewhere far around the world, playing music for people that know who you are. Somehow they know who you are. There's that freak out moment you have, and there's also the freak out moment of when you've been on tour for too long, and everything starts to bother you. Like, it's so weird. Like, I've seen people fight over like the most minuscule of things, just because like after you've been on tour for a while, you get kind of bitchy, I guess. Like you're on edge a little bit because you're constantly in the presence of people when you're on tour. There's no privacy. There's no real alone time or anything. You just have to. You've got everyone you're touring with, and you just have to learn how to be a 24/7 family with all these people that you're touring with. Because if not, this like 3-4 weeks into a tour, like the slightest thing can send you over the edge, and then you have a fight or whatever. So, yeah.
Brad.
I think I answered the question. I forgot what the question was.
No, that's perfect. It's really
critical info.
Yeah, it's really been great catching up with you and getting the international tour life down and hearing about some of the stuff that you're involved with. And we really appreciate the time you've taken out.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, man. Like,
I mean,
it's been hard. It's nice to talk about the fun stuff again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I believe you guys will be the tour with Ingested has been postponed now, I believe, until May 2021. So a little bit longer that you guys have to wait for. But in the meantime, hopefully you just keep dishing out new music. You know, and that's definitely kind of the whole point.
Actually, while we brought that up, that reminds me, we're playing a show in South Africa at Java on the 27th, I want to say.
Okay.
I think the 27th.
Awesome. So we got a little bit of an exclusive.
Yeah, finally.
Any idea?
Like, I'm so stoked.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it'll be great. I'm sure the Joburg peeps will come out in the masses to check you guys. It'll be awesome.
Dude, I'm so excited for that.
Any Cryoplegia merchandise coming out soon that people should be aware of?
Yes, there'll be a limited amount of merch we're doing. We're doing a couple different T-shirts, a hoodie. I've been trying to get a mask as well, a Cryoplegia mask too, because I think those would be pretty cool to have as well. But yeah, I'm talking to some companies right now, and hopefully I should have some merch available by next month. Next month or January latest.
Okay, cool. So around the EP. So nice.
Around
hopefully some EP designs, because that thing needs to be on a t-shirt.
Oh, it's definitely already on there. Like we already have all of the designs ready to go. I'm just trying to find the right company to release it all with. But there will be amazing merch, and who knows, maybe I'll even start playing live with it.
Oh yeah. Well, Alec, I think we've done good for another week. How do you feel?
100%. Yeah. Thank you so much for talking to us. It's been rad.
Thank you guys so much. It's been amazing.
Yeah, Lwandile, we're going to be monitoring you a lot. We're stoked you're now officially part of the Vulvodynia roster, although every time I've seen them, you've always been there, so I kind of, like you say, unofficial, you know.
Yeah, now I'm official.
Damn right. And for anybody else, we'll include links to the Cryoplegia pages. Go support. The EP comes out 4th of December. And we will check you guys next week for another Lockdown Live chat. Same time, same place on the interweb. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.